Welcome, everyone, to TechDaily.ai. I'm your host, David.
And I'm Sophia. It's great to be back.
It is great to have you. And today we are getting into something pretty startling. It's a vulnerability found, well, deep inside the corporate networks we all use.
Right. And it involves the very tools we rely on every single day. Things like Microsoft Teams or Zoom.
Turns out they can be used as a perfect, almost undetectable cover for hackers.
It's one of those really elegant attacks when you look at it. It exploits a choice that companies pretty much had to make.
The technique has a great name, ghost calls.
Yeah.
And the idea behind it is, it's just wild. Hackers are using the actual infrastructure for a Teams or Zoom call to hide their command and control traffic.
Sent to the firewall, it just looks like a boring Monday morning stand-up meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But underneath, data is being tunneled out, credentials are being stolen, remote commands are being run, and the security team sees nothing.
It's hiding in plain sight.
Now, before we get into exactly how this works, and why network admins basically created this security gap themselves, we have a quick word for you. You can actually sponsor this show for just $25. Your message will get featured across all the major platforms, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, you name it. If that's something you're interested in, just visit TechDaily.ai to get started today.
Okay, so to really understand how this is even possible, you have to start with this constant battle in IT.
Well, the classic trade-off.
The war between security and performance.
Right, where you can't seem to have both.
Exactly. In a standard, really secure corporate setup, if you're on a VPN, all of your traffic, everything you do is supposed to be routed through the company's data center.
It hits a VPN concentrator, gets looked at by a firewall, and only then does it go out to the internet.
And that's critical for security. It gives them visibility. They can see every byte of data leaving the network.
But if I'm trying to have a video call with my team, routing my video stream through some data center halfway across the country is going to be a complete disaster.
It's a total disaster for anything real time. That detour adds a ton of latency and, even worse, jitter. That variation in delay.
That's what kills the user experience.
It does. Your video freezes, audio cuts out, you sound like a robot. The path is just too long for that kind of communication.
And this trade-off, this is what creates the vulnerability. It's the golden ticket for the attackers.
It is. Because of that performance problem, big providers like Microsoft and Zoom, they explicitly recommend that IT admins enable something called split tunneling.
Split tunneling. That just sounds like a fancy way of saying we're not going to inspect this traffic.
Oh, it's a very targeted exclusion, you know. The rule says your sensitive corporate data accessing an internal server, for instance, that still has to go through the secure VPN.
The slow inspected pipe.
Right. But the Teams and Zoom traffic, the video and audio, that gets to bypass the whole process and go directly out to the internet.
And the key part of that bypass is that it skips proxy servers and, crucially, SSL inspection.
Correct. So the corporate firewall sees traffic heading to a really trusted domain like teams.microsoft.com or zoom.us.
And it checks its rules.
And it basically says, oh, that's just a meeting. That's a trusted app. Let it through. Don't slow it down. And whatever you do, do not inspect the contents.
So this whitelisting, which is done purely for speed, is exactly what the attacker uses for cover.
That's the whole game. If they can make their bad traffic look exactly like a Zoom meeting, they have a pre-approved, high-speed, uninspected highway out of the network.
Okay, so we get the why, the performance compromise. Now let's pivot to the how. How are these apps even built to connect people across all these different firewalls?
It's all based on a framework called WebRTC. And specifically, it relies on a protocol known as TURN.
TURN. Let's break that down.
Sure, it stands for traversal, using relays around NAT. It's a bit of a mouthful.
And NAT is the first problem the apps have to solve, right?
Right. NAT is network address translation. Think of it like your office mailroom. Inside, everyone has a private desk number.
But all the mail going out uses the same main building address, the external IP.
Exactly. The individual desk numbers are hidden, so two computers on different networks can't just talk to each other directly.
So if I'm behind my company's NAT and you're behind yours, we need like a mutual friend to connect us.
That's the perfect analogy. And that's the job of the Turn server. It's a trusted middleman, a relay, hosted by Microsoft or Zoom.
I send my video to the Turn server, it forwards it to you.
And because these servers are owned by Microsoft and Zoom, they are considered fundamentally trusted infrastructure.
Okay, this is where it gets dark. The attack abuses this trusted middleman.
And what's so clever about this research is that the hacker doesn't need to hack the Turn server itself.
They don't.
No. If they compromise a laptop inside the network, they can just ask the running teams or Zoom app to generate valid, legitimate credentials for these trusted turn servers.
And once they have those credentials,
They can use them to relay any data they want, not just video. They're effectively using Microsoft's own cloud infrastructure as a proxy to bypass the company firewall.
that sounds way too easy. So how does the malware actually grab those keys?
Well, when you start the application, it knows you might need to make a call. So it sends a request to the backend server saying, hey, I need the keys to access the relays.
And the server sends a response.
It sends back a JSON object, basically. And in that object is a list of servers and, critically, a username and a credential, a password.
So the malware on the machine is just listening for that response.
It's grabbing it from the local machine's memory or its network traffic. And that leads to the next big problem here, the lifespan and the portability of these credentials.
They're not single use, I take it.
Not even close. The research showed they're valid for hours, sometimes up to 24 hours. And here's the real design flaw. It's driven by convenience. Because these apps have to work everywhere, the office, your house, a coffee shop, the credentials are not tied to your specific IP address.
They're portable?
They're completely portable.
So I could steal them from a laptop in New York and use them from a server in, say, Eastern Europe.
Anywhere in the world. And the traffic tunnel will still look like it's coming from inside that corporate network in New York.
And the researcher built a proof of concept tool for this called Turnt.
Yeah, Turnt. It's open source, written in Go. Attackers love Go because it makes these standalone binaries that are really easy to drop on a target machine. No dependencies, nothing to install.
It's fast and stealthy.
Exactly.
Okay, let's walk through the attack. An implant is on a victim's machine, behind a really restrictive firewall. What's step one?
Step one, the implant waits for Teams or Zoom to run, and then it grabs those fresh, long-lived term credentials from memory.
Step two.
The implant uses those credentials to open its own connection to an official Microsoft turn server, say worlds-i.relay.teams.microsoft.com, and it does this on port 443.
The standard HTTPS port, which is always open.
Always.
Yeah.
At the same time, the attacker connects to that exact same turn server from their own machine remotely.
And the Microsoft server sees two valid logins and just connects them.
It happily bridges the gap. The two-way tunnel is now live, and the victim's firewall only sees encrypted traffic going to a whitelisted Microsoft domain. It just lets it pass.
And the most powerful feature of Turnt is this SOCKS proxying. This is what lets the attacker really get to work.
Oh, it's devastating. Because the attacker can run tools like curl or nmap or even attack frameworks on their own computer.
But because the traffic is piped through that tunnel.
It looks like it's all coming from inside the victim's network. The attacker is digitally sitting at the victim's desk, completely trusted by the firewall.
Let's paint a quick scenario. A big financial institution. They use deep packet inspection. They block everything unknown. An employee gets phished. Malware gets on their laptop.
But the malware can't call home. The C2 beacon is immediately blocked by the firewall, so it just waits.
Until the employee opens Microsoft Teams for a meeting.
That's the trigger. The moment the attack starts, the malware grabbed those fresh credentials.
The ghost call is now active. The malware connects to the Microsoft relay. The firewall checks its rules. Is the destination Microsoft? Yes. Is it on the split tunnel list? Yes. Should I inspect it? No.
And just like that, the two-way uninspected tunnel is established. The hacker can start running tools immediately, maybe secrets dump.py to steal password hashes.
And they pipe the results out through what looks like a perfectly normal Teams connection.
The security team just sees a tiny bit more Microsoft Teams traffic, which just blends in with the gigabytes of real video and audio data flying around.
It's hiding a needle in a stack of needles.
And that gets us to why this is so incredibly hard to detect. For the blue team, for the defenders, there are really three main reasons.
And it all goes back to that performance trade-off.
Absolutely. The first one is the most obvious. Organizations have to disable TLS and SSL inspection for this traffic.
Because it would just grind the calls to a halt.
It kills the quality. So the data flowing through that turn tunnel is completely opaque. Defenders cannot see what is inside that encrypted pipe.
All they see is that it's talking to Microsoft.
That's it. And reason two is just the sheer volume of noise these apps already generate.
So looking for an anomaly is impossible.
Pretty much. I mean, video calls are massive bandwidth hogs, so trying to find a traffic spike that means an attack is useless. 100-megabyte file being stolen looks the same as a few minutes of high-def video.
There's no clear signal.
None. And the third reason is you can't block the destination. The command and control server is Microsoft.
Right. You can't just block Microsoft's IP addresses.
You'd shut down the entire company's ability to collaborate. You are forced to trust that connection.
Okay, so if you can't block it and you can't inspect it, what can defenders do? The research must have offered some strategies.
It did. The primary strategy is a big shift in focus. You have to stop looking at the network path and start focusing entirely on behavior on the endpoint itself.
Because you can't trust the destination, you have to scrutinize the source.
Exactly. A normal Teams client behaves in a very predictable way. If you see traffic going to those known turn server IPs, it has to be coming from the official Teams.exe or Zoom.x process.
Not from a random binary.
Right. If you see some random process, or worse, PowerShell.exe talking to those IPs, that is a huge red flag. That's your detection.
That's the signature the firewall will never see.
Another great idea from the research is using canary tokens.
Oh, honey credentials.
Exactly. You plant fake AWS keys or database passwords on endpoints where attackers are likely to look.
So the attacker gets their tunnel open, but the moment they try to use it to steal those fake keys.
Bingo. You might not see the tunnel itself, but the attempt to use those fake credentials triggers an immediate alert. You're catching the malicious action, not the exfiltration method.
And finally, looking for the tools themselves.
Right, tooling signatures. If the attacker is running something like Impacket through that tunnel, those tools leave their own forensic footprints on the operating system.
So you catch the tool, and the ghost call becomes irrelevant because you've already stopped the attack.
You stopped it at the execution stage.
So, big picture, this whole technique is a perfect example of how our demand for convenience and speed, fast video calls from anywhere.
It directly led to the creation of these long-lived, portable, highly trusted credentials that attackers are now exploiting.
Attackers always follow the path of least resistance.
And right now, that path goes straight through the software we trust the most. This research and the Turnt tool, they're essential for helping defenders get ahead of this.
It really forces a change in how you think about internal monitoring. You can't just trust the pipe because it has a Microsoft logo at the other end.
You have to look at who inside your network is talking to Microsoft Teams and why.
It's zero trust, but for your own collaboration tools.
That's a good way to put it.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Since this ghost call method exploits these long-lived credentials that are only necessary because of split tunneling for performance, we have to ask, how quickly will this same method be adapted to other trusted enterprise cloud services? Things that also rely on network bypasses for that seamless user experience.
Something to think about the next time your video call is running perfectly smooth. That perfect performance might be hiding a much deeper security problem.
Thanks for joining us for this.
We hope you got some valuable insights.
We'll catch you next time.